Shalom to you, giving all praise and the glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Beshemel Chokodash. Giving double honor to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone, who well, peace and salutation to election. Now, Mafia from the Great Millstone Plain Tables Camp. Well, Philadelphia, coming with another week lesson, just in the spirit. Just checking out this. I got seen some brothers with this article off of Times of India. Fair use warning, so educational purposes only. All right, fair use warning. We want Russia. All right, Germans revolt against NATO amid nuclear fears. Want Moscow security alliance. Okay, major prophecy going down because, as we do know, NATO was created as a nuclear deterrent for whether you have it Russia or the Soviet, formerly the Soviet Union and such, which is you had a collection of the different Russian countries. All right, so NATO, just to go into it, it's an alliance. Okay, it's you have it the beast. Okay, you have the 10 horns in the European Union. All right, now NATO is a political and military alliance of countries within Europe and North America. Okay, its members are committed in protecting each other from any threat. Okay, now the threat originally, all right, was established, okay, from, have it, as we'll get into, NATO's primary purpose was to deter and counter the threat posed by the Soviet Union. All right, and its satellite states, which were forming a rival Warsaw Pact in 1955. All right, so this is one alliance, big alliance of why you have it. It's about, okay, and we have, like you go into the beast, the 7 heads. With the 10 horns and such, it's you have it, NATO created back in established back in 1949, right? And it's you have it with what is it, when you go into it all together, right? But you have it with Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, United Kingdom, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Turkey, United States, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic. Okay? Yeah, the European Union. All right, 10 horns. Okay, the woman, which is America, right, kind of color beast. All right, the beast is NATO. All right, it's the 7 heads. You got it with the Greeks, the French, the British, the Spanish, the Germanic Major, Germanic Minor, the Romans. Okay, you can refer back, read Revelation 13 and 17, also Daniel 7 and Daniel 2. Going to the 10 toes as well, and the statue, the iron with the miry clay, to get some stuff. Okay. European Union, okay, you got the common markets, the economic European Economic Community. This came back with the the ancient and you have the ancient common markets coming back into play, revival during later on with the Treaty of Rome and such. You just go into the history, that's all. But we're just here to just cover, some this clear prophecy. Okay, Russia, which have a major part. German leaders want security ties with Russia. That Why would they want that? Because you have it that NATO, which Germany is a strong member, a part of NATO. All right, that alliance is that military alliance is falling apart. Okay, and that's biblical prophecy too. Which in the end, we're gonna have Russia and of course Germany gonna hate the whore, which is America, that ride upon a scarlet colored beast, which the beast is NATO, and burn her with fire, as it is written in Revelation the 17th chapter. Okay, Revelation 17. Okay, and it tells you in the 10 horns. All right, but you have the 10 horns with the European Union, which of course you have it a part of the 10 horns. Okay, which you would have a country such as Germany. Okay, West Germany. Okay, but you can see that right there. You have it West Germany again for NATO. You have some countries are not a part of NATO, such as are part of the EU, such as Canada, which is in North America, but it's part of NATO. Okay, but more economically strong countries such as Germany, they which is supposed to be going against Russia as a deterrent, will actually want to side with them. Okay, and hey, you have different different resources that Russia can provide to these different European countries and such, and you have it where you go into the Nord Stream 2 and such. Right. It was a pipeline, right? Okay. Which it would a twin underwater twin pipeline that would transport natural gas from Russia directly to Germany. But you have it with different alliances. They don't want that. Okay, the other countries don't want that. And they seen that the Nord Stream 2, which will bring that natural gas, negatively, as they saying the Nord Stream negatively, as geopolitics project the increase of Europe's energy dependence on Russia and undermine Ukraine's security, which Ukraine is a ally of America. Okay, and due to, of course, NATO and Eastern and progression towards Russian territory, like Russia don't want U.S. so close to NATO in that territory. You got that war going down, but it says an increase of Russian influence. Okay, they don't want nothing, no leverage. Oh yeah, look at how Russia is so good. They provide natural gas, to us in Europe, in Germany. But them places need these different natural resources and such. Okay, but America sees that as evil, and you see you have with that Nord Stream 2, which what happened to the Nord Stream 2, which I believe it was destroyed, if I'm not mistaken. All right, put out a commission. Right, damage in 2022 by explosions, which investigation in Denmark, Sweden, Germany have concluded were deliberate sabotage. Okay, so Germany going to this, and who could be blamed? Okay, I'll leave you that. All right, that's regardless. of the little infightings with E. All right, Joshua. Okay. But anyway, German leaders want security ties with Russia. All right, let me just go more prophecy. Okay. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her with flesh, and burn her with fire. Okay, and we know how, NATO do having America as the woman, which rides on the scarlet colored beast. You want to give her powerful influence over the countries on what they can and cannot do, and such. Oh, this member state, no, you can't have that alliance with Russia. That's gonna push influence. You have all this different, as they were going to, is deemed propaganda going out. All right, for Yahweh Shem Yashai put in their heart to fulfill His will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast. All right, until the words of Yahweh Bashem Yashai shall be fulfilled. And that woman that which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Okay, that's America. All right, is the woman. All right, so the beast shall hate the whore. These different NATO countries are gonna hate America. All right, and these different European countries, which is a part, like you have Germany, part of NATO and the EU, gonna hate America. All right, why would they be doing this? Okay, so you go into also with Russia's big part of prophecy is Russia. This is Revelation 13. All right, and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast. All right, I already explained that. Rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. I explained that already. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, representing the Greeks, Alexander. All right, swift, and his feet were like unto the feet of the bear. All right, Edomite rule, starting with, as they say, like with the Greeks, and ending with, of course, which the Russians are Edomites, but they're not a part of the beast. Okay, but they are the end, as the feet is the end of the body. All right, the Russians, the bear, they being very solitary and such unto themselves. Okay, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and a great authority. All right, and this, with this new Roman Empire and such, man, this conglomerate, you see what it is. So we're just gonna keep going on, with this, and Germany is a major part of prophecy. Russia, major part of prophecy. Pro-Putin wave sweeping in Europe. This is that Russian influence. Voices from within Russia.
You need a convincing security architecture.
This is, as they say, Berlin, Germany. AI generated audio, though. Okay. But I'm going to read what I'm going to do. In a striking appeal, German opposition leaders have urged Berlin to abandon its confrontational stance towards Moscow and revive diplomatic engagement with Russia, warning that only diplomacy can protect us in a nuclear age, right? So, they gotta, switch stuff up, right? Where there's opposition against Russia, okay? There's where they want different, agreements to be made. They argued that escalating tensions and sanctions have left Germany economically weaker and Europe more insecure. All right, and this is another reason why they can, burn the whore America with fire. This is more fuel for the fire and such. And Europe has been, more weaker, all right, economically and such, and has continued to become weaker. All right, and with that alliance of the European Union, countries like economically will be more economically strong. France, it was like British, like Germany, France, and Britain, but Britain exited the EU, and that's all prophecy. All right, this is a kingdom that's divided. All right, as he said, this is Daniel chapter 2 and 40. In the fourth kingdom, and the Roman Empire shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. All right, Roman power, the military, the iron that even had it to be able to conquer, lesser vassals too. The advancement, okay, the weaponry too. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as I saw the iron mixed with the miry clay. All right, and you have it with this, the revival of the old, the old pagan Roman Empire, with the Renaissance and them coming back. You have it with these, with the EU being partly weak and partly strong, as it's gonna go into. As the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. All right, going to your pigs economics. All right, and whereas thou hast sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. All right, so with them, wanting, links, which I'm not gonna play this based on this AI generated audio. We know what it's all about. Okay, at the end of the days. Okay. As they say, the people want peace, not wars. That's only profit a small elite minority. All right, oligarchs. All right. Yes. The leaders stressed Europe's security cannot rest on military posturing alone. Right, war games and such. Right, but must be built on communication, cooperation, and strategic restraint. Okay. So, hey, they got needs over there, and you can watch like Survivor Lily. She would tell you about the different things, and like say like Austria and such. The conditions going on in Europe and such. They have a great dependence on a lot of these different, oil, natural gas, etc. But of course, they don't want Russia to get the power, because then they'd be a superpower, But the next superpower is Israel, not which is due to Israelites. All right, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans. All right, not Russia, despite their growth, BRICS and etc. But that's gonna be the lesson of the spirit. Just something I wanted to talk about. Shalom to the elect.